Hi, welcome to Part of My Frenchie. This is me, 143. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're here, welcome. How is everybody doing today? Is the moderator on yet? She normally is. Welcome to Frenchie Friday. Today is our light-hearted show, and unlike Tuesdays are pet loss support shows, which actually I was doing some research today, and I did not realize Patty's here. I did not realize that Patty was here. So Patty's here. Yay, Patty's here. But I did not realize that June is actually officially Pet Memorial Month. So shame on me because we were like at the end of June, right? June 26th. And it has been Pet Memorial Month, which, in my defense, we have been celebrating Pet Loss Tuesday all month. So it is Pet Loss Tuesday and welcome. Well, it is not Pet Loss Tuesday. It is Frenchie Friday. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Dave is here. Where's Violet? No Violet today? Is Violet taking a nap? And the moderator is here. I will say I always get slack for having these at 8 o'clock on Friday night because it gets up there with the moderator's bedtime because she starts so early work the next day. So, anyways, but so nobody's got Violet. Patty or Dave, nobody's got Violet. Does anybody know where Violet is? Is Violet still in the house? But yeah, welcome to Frenchie Friday. You are early. You are early. Michelle made it. Woohoo! Yay, Michelle. We missed you last Tuesday. I'm so glad that you made it. I'm so glad that you are wonderful and doing great. So I know you said that you had to put up some cameras around your house. So, that I hope that that's all for a good reason. Granted, we have cameras up on our front door, so it's very, very common. Oh, who's got Violet, Dave or Patty? One of you two has Violet. So, yeah, again, this Frenchie Friday, very, very. Oh, Patty's got Violet. But yeah, Frenchie Friday, very relaxed day, open forum. A lot of interesting things have been going on. I had a very, very rainy day today. Not horrible, I shouldn't say, just very overcast. Not one of those things where you just didn't know if you should go out and do something or not do something. So like the safest thing that you could do. Cameras. Oh, good. Well, hopefully it's for good reasons. We've got our doorbell camera, so I think that's pretty much all that we've got going on with regards to cameras. But moderator's got cameras in her house, around her house. So like I said, it's a big thing now. I bet you have your cameras on. Yeah, she's got them all over her house, but I think that's just because the one she always had on the front, but then after they had the fire in her building, that we talked about episodes back. And you live alone too with your dog, but after she had the fire scare in her building, she now has a couple cameras inside her house because God forbid something like that happens again, which is really smart. I actually never really thought about that. So you are very smart about doing that because, again, God forbid you're not there and something happens, you could always check your cameras, see where dog is. And, if firemen do need to break in your house, you can always say my dog is in the back room or wherever. And, it's smart. I never had thought about doing something like that, but that is actually a pretty good tip for people that, may live alone or like situations like that where, God forbid, nobody ever thinks about, emergencies and all that good stuff. I do have the girls down here. They have their bones. So, but Coco is not eating hers for some reason. First time she hasn't inhaled something. Rosie's eating hers and she's all happy. So, but Coco's passed out already. Rosie's got it's really weird. Rosie has pretty bad allergies for a French bulldog, but they only come out during the summer. So it's got to be like environmental, and because she likes to go chasing after small animals and some of the bushes and trees, that tends to be when she breaks out the most. And I mean, she gets a lot of baths because of that, because I'm always afraid of all that stuff being on her fur and then her swelling up, and it's just an ongoing cycle. But anyways, I did, the moderator usually hates when I make my little AI pictures. So, but I did it anyways because I wanted to. So since moderator hates it so much, this is the moderator and her dog Noir. So I decided to get real festive with some of these, but this is moderator and her dog Noir. And now she did say she liked the one with the sitting on the bed. So I thought that was cute. Oh, Bubba's sleeping on his luxury bed. I bet he does. No, I didn't show you. I did not. Moderator did not show you the other picture because I wanted it to be a surprise. But yeah, so these are hers, and then I couldn't leave out. And Aaron's not on yet, but I couldn't leave out Patty and Violet and Michelle and Bubba and Aaron and his dog that had passed, Angel. So I thought these were so cool, so cool. Just like how they came out, and very kind of like artsy and abstract, right? But I thought that they were so cute, and of course, I couldn't like totally leave like me out either. So I have one with Coco and then one with Rosie. So, and I will be 100% transparent. When I was on Facebook today, which, everybody says that, old people are on Facebook, but when I was on Facebook today, they had this, I know, right? Isn't that cute? Oh, it gets that way sometimes, right? When it just gets cold, even in the summer, it gets like cold and wet. And I mean, we have a fireplace too, and it's awfully nice. Just something to quickly heat up the rooms, which is fabulous. I was on Facebook today, and they have this company that will actually make these pictures. So you can upload your photos and all that stuff into the system, and then it auto generates for you, and then you can buy them. What I do is I make the pictures and then I basically just screenshot them and I print them off for my own use. So, but still, I really like how it comes out, right? It's something cute and something adorable that you can just kind of have fun with, right? So, anyways, but that was my venture with this today. I thought it was really cute. But anyways, so another thing when I was, Facebook always does a memories thing, and Facebook memories, it's like they can be good and they can be bad, right? Especially if I love the black and white too. To me, it was just like such a like an artsy, like it just reminded me of like something like artsy, and I just really liked it. But so like everybody gets those Facebook memories where they pop up, what happened a year ago, what happened, 5 years ago, and all that stuff. And it just so happened, I know this is not Pet Loss Tuesday, but this just so happened to be, I think it's a 3-year anniversary of, 3-year anniversary of my dog Harley's passing. And so it came up and showed a post that I had posted, when he had passed away. And, it's interesting because I had the pictures that I had, and I'll show you him here. I had posted like the picture up here when that was the first day we brought him home. That was the first day we brought him home when he was just a puppy, and then the other pictures is I want to say it was maybe a week before I lost him, and kind of something that I found a little interesting on the picture where I lost him. Looking at it now, you don't you know your dog's age, right? Never really, to me, it's like you always see them like here. And you know, even when they look like this, you still always see like the day you got them, and you know, no, they're not getting older, and you know, and then I look at pictures, see, I'm like, gosh, you know, he was, you know, and he was sick at the time too, which is why he's, you know, a little thin and so forth. Um, but at the time, you don't really see him like that, right? You know, you see him like, you know, the first day you brought him home, and everybody was so happy, and you know, and you know, and then here it's like, you know, they're older, and you know, they're towards the end of their life, and I don't know if that's just because we don't want to accept that. You know, I mean, hell, we don't want to accept when we get older half the time. And I looked at that picture too. I'm like, gosh, you know, I was, you know, 11 years younger than that picture, and you know, just, you know, again, that day that you get your dog is, you know, you don't think about the end day. You don't, you know, you just, it's just the happiest day, and they're happy, and everybody's happy. And he was a shelter dog, and so you know, we rescued him from the Franklin County shelter, and you know, shockingly enough, we were supposed to get a it's kind of like a Coco story in a way. We were supposed to get a different dog, and we went. You coming up here, baby? And Rosie's up here now with her little bone. And yeah, we were supposed to get we had picked out a different boxer, and because we still wanted to go with the boxer breed, and we had picked out a different one. And at this shelter, what they require is before you can adopt a dog, if you have other dogs, um, you have to bring them there just to make sure that everybody gets along, right? So I didn't even see Harley when we walked through like the, you know, rooms upon rooms of dogs. I had just seen this one, and he was an older dog, and he was a boxer and so forth. And you know, he actually looked like my Sammy, and so when we brought uh, Cookie, yeah, we brought Cookie with us. And so you can see her little allergies. She breaks out, loses a little hair. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to point that out on the TV. Um, but anyways, so but that'll grow back. She has to get an allergy shot this week coming up too. But so when we went and when we came back with our dogs to make sure that our dogs could get along with that dog, um, that dog like wanted to eat Cookie. Like just kind of like lunged at her and wanted to eat her. And I was like heartbroken because here I thought, you know, I'm doing a good thing. This dog is a little older, and you know, he was just so sweet, and you know, he hated my little dog. And I was just like, man, you know, that sucks. And I was just like, okay, well, we're gonna go. And the lady's like, well, hang on. She's like, I think I have a younger boxer in the back. And I'm like, yeah, you know. And so they brought Harley out, and Harley was like, I mean, again, he was, you know, he's just a puppy here. I think he was maybe 6 months old, 6 or 7 months old. And he came out, and my other dog, my other boxer, Daisy, who she's never had puppies or anything like that, but she's, you know, she was older at the time, and I think she was, gosh, probably pushing 9 years old at the time. And he came out, and of course, he was just this little timid puppy, and Daisy just took to him immediately. Just took to him immediately, like it was her own dog, like it was her own puppy. And then, of course, he didn't try to eat the little dogs, and you know, it just ended up being a perfect fit. But it's, you know, it's interesting how life does that, right? It kind of throws you a curveball. You know, you think you're going into it with one thing, and then you come out with something totally different, which is also why, you know, I will always say this, it's also why I believe that your dogs that pass send you your next dog. I honestly believe that. I mean, hell, if it wasn't for the situation with Coco, you know, I would have had, you know, if that would have all went through, I would have had a totally different puppy, and I would have never even seen Coco. And, it's just Coco's been, I can't explain how much of a blessing she is. Now, granted, I'm sure the other dog would have been, great as well. I'll never know. But, I wouldn't, to this day, I would never pick another dog because she's just absolutely perfect in her own weird ways. And, that's a cool thing about them, right? They all have personalities and so, which is, again, why when people, not Pet Loss Tuesday again, but when people lose them, and they're like, well, should I get another one? And it's like, well, when you're ready, absolutely, in my opinion, because they're all different and they all have their own personalities. It's like all your kids are different. My kids are two very, very different, people. And, so there's no way that that new dog is going to be anything like the one that just left you. So to me, it's great. It's an addition, and it's giving another dog a home and love and all that good stuff. So anyways, that was that. What else? Oh, so we I don't know if anybody here like sells things on Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is every once in a while I will sell stuff, and I also go to what's called, like, we have auctions here where you can go and you can auction, you can bid on things and you can win them. And there's this one auction place I absolutely love, and I probably have way too many things. I'm looking in down here by my studio. I have all these different things that I've gotten from auction, and every time I see something, I'm always like, oh, I could use that, or it could be good for somebody else. And I have so many damn dog ramps in that I've gotten from auction, and it's cheap. It's like you could bid on stuff that's hundreds of dollars and you can get it for like 20, right? Dog. Oh, your dog your last dog howled at him all the time. Michelle, what kind of dog did you have? What kind you must have had a howler. So was it like a beagle or the, that, and that is true, right? Like things like that happen, and it triggers memories. And when did you lose your dog, your last dog? Because that's the thing too, right? I mean, like I said, Facebook, I love Facebook memories, but sometimes it'll just pull up stuff. And granted, like I said, that one was kind of like a good walk on memory lane, from when we first adopted him. And, but then again, you're like, it just, you got, when you love something so much, you're going to go through that hard day. And is hard and as hard as that is, like, I would never trade any of the moments, any of the moments that I have with any of them, even when they rip things up, which that was another thing in my. Well, so anyway, so I was selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace, right? And every once in a while I will. Well, last time I went to auction, they had these. Wait, you heard away a New Zealand. Oh, sheepdog. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm so. I bet that's a beautiful dog. I'll have to look that dog up. I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. Oh yeah, the Bassett's always. Yep, Bassett's always howl as well. My sister's got beagles. They howl. I don't howler. I've always had boxers, and then of course dachshunds, and then now Frenchies, but I've never had a howler. She makes a lot of noise sometimes, but so I went on Facebook Marketplace, okay, and this was, I'm sorry, I went to auction, and I got these things because, and these are like, I don't know, they're planters, right? And they're they're dinosaurs. And I don't even know why I bid on these. and I don't know if I was getting it for the moderator or who I was getting it for, but they're really cool. It's a red one and a blue one, right? These, really cool planters. You put a plant in them, you put stuff in them. Yeah, dragon planters. And so, anyways, when I bid on these at an auction, I thought, and I want to say maybe I paid $10 for everything, and these are really good quality and stuff like that, ceramic and real pretty. But when I bid on these, I thought that I was bidding on one set. And so when I went to the place to pick up the items, they came in like this huge box. And I'm like, why would 2 little dragon planters be in this huge box? Well, I ended up bidding on 60 of these. And yeah, so I was like, what in the hell do you do with 60 dragon planters? I wanted one set. I did not want 60. So you can't back out after you buy things like that, and especially for $10. So I started like posting these things on Facebook Marketplace, and for like $10 a piece. And granted, I've sold quite a few in the past, but the funny thing is I've had them sitting on there forever. I haven't sold a bunch in a while. And all of a sudden I get hit up by this person the other day saying that if I still had them available. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. More the merrier. How many do you want? I could probably like give them away. Right. I'll give them away with the snails. Yeah. 3 more egg sacs up there. But I'm like, I could probably give them, start giving these away for freaking Halloween. Right. And so the person's like, well, no, I'll take a set. And so I'm like, okay, well, I normally will do the, on stuff like this. It was like $10 or whatever. On stuff like this, I just do the porch pickup stuff, and I'll let them know. I'm like, here you go. Here's my address, and you come pick. I'll have them on the porch. Just put the money under the mat or whatever. And I always like look at their profile or whatever just to make sure before I give my address out. And looked like decent person or whatever. Looked like a decent human being. And so I gave him my address and stuff, and he sends me a message this morning. He's like an older gentleman or whatever. And so like he's like, yeah, I'll be on my way. And then like he just starts going into conversation, and his dog chewed up his remote, and and then he's showing me pictures of his dog, and I've met some of the most like unique people. Oh my God. It probably was one of mine. I'm telling you, they're all over the place. But I've met so many like unique people on Facebook. I made those. I know I've showed pictures of those rainbow bridges that I make. And a couple of years ago, I sold one to a lady, and I actually, she was in a cast or whatever, and she couldn't drive, and so she was middle-aged lady, not too old. She was older lady, but she asked if I could take it out to her because she couldn't drive because of the cast on her leg, and I said okay. So I took the moderator with me, and I think my son was with me, and we drive out this rainbow bridge to her house, and nice neighborhood, whatever. I get out of the car, and I take the bridge, and I leave the kids in the car, and so I take the bridge, and I knock on her door, and of course she is. She's casted up, right? And she's like, oh, you could just leave it here on the porch, and I'll have somebody bring it in later. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, I could just set it inside, and so anyway, so all the moderator who's sitting in the car sees is me go into this lady's house, and I don't think anything of it because again, I'm talking to her, and so oh good, I'm glad the dog didn't get it. So all of the moderator sees is me walking into this person's house, and then when I'm in there, I put her thing down, and then we start talking, and she's showing me like her memorial for her dog and all this stuff and all these pictures. I was probably in her house probably for at least 20 minutes. Nicest lady in the world. I think we even became Facebook friends. Um, but when I came out, the moderator was so mad at me. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? She's like, well, I was getting ready to go in there. You don't just go in people's houses and people you don't know, people you meet on Facebook. And again, like I wasn't thinking anything of it, right? Yeah, you're very anxious. Yeah, okay, anxious. We'll call it anxious. But she's like, why do you do that? You just trust people. I'm like, she was literally in a cast, and of course, the moderator, probably watches, true crime movies or whatever. She's like, yeah, but what if she had people upstairs and they could have came down? I'm like, I, you know, if I thought it was a shady situation, I probably wouldn't have done it. But, I've only had one bad situation on Facebook Marketplace, and I wouldn't say it was a bad situation, but it could have gotten icky on me, I guess. But I had not done the porch pickup. I had the people come to the house, and I met them, and I handed them the stuff. It was a very brief interaction, but then like 10 minutes after the guy left, because it was just a guy, and I don't even remember what the hell he was selling, but the guy left, and then he sends me a text message, and he's like, you're awfully pretty. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I said, well, okay, well, thank you. And he's like, yeah. He's like, so, are you single? And I'm like, okay, I'm ending this conversation right now. And then I got paranoid because I'm like, now these people know like where I live. So if he was like a really like creepy person, he now like knows where I live, right? So that's why I typically, if I give people my address, I just, leave the stuff on the thing. Not like I think that, everybody that comes to my house is going to think that I'm some sort of drop dead gorgeous, person that's, going to want to stalk me forever. Ooh, what happened? I got to hear this now. You have one bad situation out of loads of. Because again, a lot of times, I mean, you can look at somebody's profile, right? And again, this, I seem like a decent person, but I mean, you can look at somebody's profile, and I mean, they look decent, and then all of a sudden, boom, it turns into something different. But yeah, right. Well, and with that too, I mean, who knows? Especially like with fake profiles and stuff nowadays. I mean, anybody can make up a Facebook page and a fake profile. So I guess you just really never know. But yeah, I'm also one. I'm a cautious person, but I'm can be overly trusting sometimes. We have today we went and for some reason now, Michelle, I know that you like birds, right? Wait, he wanted to pay half and got. Why do people do that? When you list a price, now I don't mind if they're haggling while we're talking, like before we negotiate. I don't mind if people like try to do that, but like you said, when you actually go to pay and do the transaction, and then they try to then haggle at that time when they're like eyeball to eyeball with you, I hate that stuff. Let's negotiate on a price before we meet, because then I can sell it to somebody else. I can move on. I can tell you nicely to move on. But it's like when you have that, even with garage sales, right? If you have garage sales, and that drives me nuts. Like you have like $1 on something. You always have that person that'll come up and be like, oh, I'll give you 25 cents. Like, dude, it's $1. And who carries a quarter? So I just, I hate that. I don't mind. I appreciate the game. I appreciate the hustle. You want to hustle on garage sale stuff. I get it. I know Dave hustles people out of fishing poles out of all the time. He uses his little dog Violet, to get in with people, and they're like, oh, I love your dog, and then they give him whatever he wants at these garage sales. So I can't say he's hustling them. All I can say is they fall in love with his dog, and then these women give whatever they have in their garage to Dave. Usually it's fishing poles and stuff for grandkids and all that stuff. But he gets a good deal with that dog. That dog gets maybe that's a thing. If you're going to garage sales or something like that, take your dog. make sure, your dog doesn't bite anybody, but take your dog. Maybe you'll get, win some points with some people, and they'll start giving you stuff for free. But I mean, that's like, I don't even do garage sales anymore. I used to do them in the past, and it just seems like, you don't really get a good return on it. So now I almost just like donate half the stuff. Yes, there was a little scratch, and it was on the description, sold it. Yeah, right. Yeah. Why do people do that? And it's like they look for stuff, and they look for anything to get the price down. And my thing is, I'm not Walmart, right? Yeah. Yeah. See, Dave said I used to use Patty, but Violet works better now. Well, yeah. I will say the co-producer says that he uses me as a when he needs, things taken care of. He calls me the pit bull, and sicks me on people, to make sure that we get things fairly. I'm not mean. I'm just passionate. That's what I like to say. Or if I need people to call me back and so forth. But I'm not mean. I'm just passionate. I like to put it that way. So, but the past few times, this is now okay, Michelle. This is what I was going to say to you. We have, you're big, you're a bird fan. Well, very rarely here we get hummingbirds, and bad surgery. Well, we're all falling apart, Patty. Lord knows we're all falling apart. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But so we very rarely get hummingbirds. I had, and I don't even have a hummingbird feeder, but the past like week, every time I go outside on my deck and I sit there for a while, there's been this hummingbird that keeps appearing. And it gets to the point where, and I've sent like videos and stuff to Patty and the moderator, because I'm like, nobody's going to believe me, because A, like we don't ever get them. But B, like I've never seen it where a hummingbird like will get that close to you. Like he'll go and he'll sit in the tree, and then he'll come and he'll kind of like hover like right in front of me. And I'm just like, this is the craziest thing in the world. So today I went to, did you eat your bone? There's Rosie. So today I had to go out and get 2 hummingbird feeders. I didn't have to. The moderator said that I better get a hummingbird feeder in a hummingbird house, which I was going to do anyways. But so we've got the feeders out there, and it's interesting because I've been watching this damn bird so much that like I know its chirp now, and so when I'm standing outside, I can hear which tree it's in. Like we have a bunch of trees, and so I can hear which tree it is. And if I sit out there long enough, he will come and hang out with me. I've never seen anything like it, and I'm ecstatic by it, because I think it's like the coolest thing in the world. But so you can see poor little Rosie's. I've got to get her allergy shots. She gets these spots when she gets allergies, and it's from being in the trees and stuff. I know, I'm sorry, I shouldn't talk about your spots. But she gets these like little spots like that, and it grows back after the season's over. But oh yeah, as I say, Patty has like hummingbird feeders and stuff. I mean, she gets how many? Do you get a pretty good decent amount of hummingbirds by you? I know when I think it was years ago when I was there, you had a hummingbird feeder, and there was like 2 or 3 of them. But yeah, they're little, and they're little guys, and they and they fly, and I mean, well, of course they fly, right? But yeah, so the it was just so like interesting, just being able to see this thing, and a few 4 regulars. Yeah, see, well, the moderator says I need to get him a house, so I don't even know if they sell hummingbird houses. I was on Amazon today because I was trying to get something for the show tonight, and it hasn't come yet, and it's making me mad because It said it was in transit, but it is not here yet because I wanted to show you what it was because tomorrow, excuse me, got the hiccups now. Tomorrow in Columbus, they have this thing. It's called the World Columbus World Oddities and Curiosities Show in Columbus. Now, I think years ago we went to it, but they have it every year. And basically, what it is kind of what it sounds like. It's this convention, and it's all these odd and weird things. I mean, there's like a lot of taxidermy stuff. So you might have like, you know, like I don't know if anybody's seen like the taxidermy mice that are dancing, or like they have taxidermy like ducks that are dressed up, or like just it's all weird stuff. Yeah, on top of they have like people performing things and things you can buy. Anyway, so we're going to this thing tomorrow, and I surprised the moderator because they had classes that you could do or you could take while you're there. And like they did have a taxidermy class, and I know she's been wanting to take this taxidermy class, but it was like $200 and something, and per person, and all you were doing was like taxiderming a mouse or something like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm not paying $200 to taxidermy a mouse. On top of the fact, if I don't even know if I could do it, she could do it. She was a nurse. I can't do it. I don't know. It's just too weird for me. But they have this class that I signed us up for, and it's dissecting owl pellets. Okay. And I was like, what the hell is that? Right. But what it is when owls eat things, like live things, they can't digest, like, so if they eat, say, a mole, right? They can't digest the bones. So they're kind of like cats, where they like throw up these hairball things, which are, I guess, what they consider pellets. And whatever doesn't digest, like the bones are like thrown up in these hairball things. And it, consists of like, whatever, the hair from the animals, all the bones and so forth. So they call these owl pellets. And what this class is everybody gets these owl pellets, and then you dissect them. You take them apart very carefully, and you see whatever that owl ate. And then they give you like this paper or whatever, and you kind of try to figure out, okay, what did it eat? Because it's got like skulls in there and all the bones in there. So you're like picking apart this thing and taking it. This bones are like in perfect condition. And then you take it and you try to like identify all the bones and what that owl ate. And, it sounds really gross, but interesting all at the same time to me. Because they were, I looked at a few YouTube videos of it, and like you could see like people are like putting together like, a whole like mouse skeleton or a whole mole skeleton. And I was like, granted, it's part of nature, owls are beautiful creatures. They're just carnivores. So, and their just little system isn't made to digest bones. So what I thought for tonight for the show, I'm like, I looked on Amazon, because you can buy anything on Amazon. And sure enough, they sell these owl pellets on Amazon. So I bought like 5 or 6 of them because they come in a pack. And I wanted to like, open some of these up prior to tonight, but they're not here yet. They're still on the Amazon truck somewhere. So, which again, my son is still with the one family on vacation. So he should be home sometime tomorrow or the next day. And I'm sure he'll get through a lot of being able to pull apart these owl pellets. But it was like, really, I don't know, it's for something like that sounds like so kind of like morbid. It's really like interesting to me. The moderator's always been like interested in things like that, and like skeletons and stuff. But I mean, she went into nursing, right? So even as a little girl, we had taken like one of like her best like stories when she was a little girl, and I would say like 7, 8 years old. We were walking, and I used to take these really, really long walks. And, she'd always, she was a kid. So she'd always like be trailing behind or picking stuff up and all this stuff. And I remember us walking, and all of a sudden she says to me, she says, "Mom, what is this?" And I'm like not paying attention or whatever. And I'm like, I didn't even know what she had, right? And I didn't even know what she had in her hand, but she was like, "What do you think this belonged to?" Well, that like alerted me because what does this belong to, right? And I looked down and she's got this jaw bone in her hand with teeth. And I was just like, I wanted to be one of those. I didn't want to be one of those like moms, like, drop it, like, germs, all that stuff. And I didn't want to discourage her from, you know, learning about what, like she had an interest in what the hell this thing was, right? And so it was shockingly enough, as we were in this area, there happened to be like a bag on the side, um, a couple feet down. It was like a bread bag or something like that. So I'm like, well, let's do this. Let's put it in the bag. So we put it in this bag, and I had her actually take it to school, um, to her science teacher, not just haphazardly take a jawbone to school, but she took it to her science teacher, who identified it for her, and it was actually a um, what was it? It was it was a possum jaw, so it was like part of a possum's head she was carrying around. Um, but I mean, like I said, it was like anybody, like I could have seen it and been like, I'm not touching it. But she was a kid and she was so curious about it. Um, we lived in an area back then that it was more like farm area, farmish area, not very. It was more rural, and I I also like I remember driving home from work, and I remember being so tired, and I saw her down the street, because all the kids ran outside all day long, and I saw her down the street, and I was looking, and I'm like, what the hell does she have? She it looked like she had a cat, like she was holding a big cat, and I'm like, what has she got? So, and I mean, again, other people were around or whatever, and I'm like, so, um, right. Exactly. You don't want to start phobia. Right. Exactly. I wanted to encourage. Who knows? She could have wanted to be a vet. I didn't want to discourage it. So just because I thought it was gross, but so I was like, what has she got? So as I passed my house and I drove up to where she was at, and as I got closer, she was holding a huge raccoon, and I was like, oh my god. My kid is standing there holding this big raccoon, like it's got its head on her shoulder. And I mean, she's holding, I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is happening here? Why does my kid have a raccoon? And so I like pulled it. I'm like, what, yeah, hey. And it was somebody's actual pet raccoon that they raised from a baby. And she was just carrying it around. Like it was just like this big old dog or cat or whatever. And I mean, it was fine. It was tame. I get, but it's things never like cease to amaze me when being a mom. And my son's just as bad. Like he will just pick up things and bring things home. And again, why we have numerous snails and birds and dogs and all that, all these certain things. And yeah, you just never know. So but yeah, so when I was I was so like looking forward to these owl pellets today because I wanted to show you guys them. um I had asked my Alexa, my little Alexa friend, who again, I don't care what they say. Those things, you know, again, people have full on conversations, which I told you about the other day. I was screwing around having a conversation with it just to see, what it was like. But I'm sitting there today and I'm like, hey Alexa, where's my Amazon package? And he comes on, he's like, oh, well, let me look up all your packages. And he's like, well, you have a refund here. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'm just looking for the one package. So he's like, oh, it's the one package is still on the truck. And and that was it. He ended his conversation. Well, I was looking at my phone at something else, and I'm like, oh man. And yeah, I just said it out loud. I was looking at I'm like reading something, like, oh man. And all of a sudden my Alexa goes off and says, oh, well, that didn't sound good. What's wrong? Is there something wrong? Is there something I can get you or something I can help you with? And I'm like, what, why is my Alexa now like engaging with me? um, then so I'm like, man, I didn't even like say like Alexa, oh man, because usually that's what triggers it to go off, right? And it was a good like couple minutes before, after that interaction. So I was like, why is my Alexa? And then concerned that I was upset and wondered if he could get me something. And I'm thinking, why? What, are you going to order me something off of Amazon using my credit card? So yeah, that's and like I said, they always say that those things listen to you, and I never really believe it. Um, but again, it's interesting what I mean. I don't know if you guys use that feature, but there's people that have the AI features online and on their phones and all that stuff, and they have full blown relationships with these. The one guy at my work, he constantly uses his like for ideas and all this stuff, and it blows my mind. It just blows my mind, and it blows my mind how smart everything is. I mean, they say that AI and stuff. They say, oh, it's going to ruin the world, and but yeah, I'm not exactly sure it's going to ruin the world, but I think it may cripple us in a way with us just relying on it. But I mean, I think it's positive, right? I think it's I think it's fun. I think it's positive. I think it's fun to be able to put in. I think it's fun to be able to put in picture ideas and come up with different things, and or even like the one oh jeez, that one's a little crooked. But like the ones I always show to, I mean, like, these are fun, and this is AI. They didn't have that, right? We didn't have that before. Just, oh, you put in an idea. Well, I'm with you, Michelle. I think it's enhanced. I think it's enhanced my life too. I think it's creative. Again, I don't think it's like this big dangerous thing, unless we haven't gotten there, to where the danger is yet. I don't know. But it helps me a lot with different ideas. And, if I need to know stuff, pretty quick or get answers pretty quick, I think it's like a game changer. Now, I don't know about kids in school. I don't think they're allowed to use AI and in school to do their stuff, but I'm sure they're not. I had seen something on YouTube with regards to it was a graduation or something, and they had said made a comment about like next year they were having a new technology put in that teachers can scan reports to see if it was done by AI, and so I mean, is it going to make people get through school easier because they're not going to think? Which then that's scary because what if you go to be a doctor and you're not learning anything, you're just having AI do everything for you, and then you get out there to be a doctor, and but I hate to say it, that's another profession too that I don't know. I sometimes feel like doctors today aren't as good as doctors were years ago. I don't know if that just comes with experience. Of course I'm not a doctor, but I can imagine that going through medical school is not a picnic in the park, nor is it easy, which is one of the reasons why I did not go to medical school, on top of not having any interest in going to medical school. But No, you're right. Cheating's never been good. And I mean, if you don't know it, you don't know it. Uh, Again, I would rather have, yeah, somebody actually, especially in a profession like medical field or, neurology or something where you need things like that. Um, I don't know. It's scary. It's scary to me because I see and I feel like there's so many mistakes made. Um, and granted, doctors aren't God by any means. They do their best effort on certain things, but still, it's too easy, I think, to get through um, school. But if you're using AI and all that good stuff, but yeah, so yeah, that part it can be scary. So I had a question. I had this question come up. Uh, the question coming up for Frenchie Friday is small wins. Like what are like like we're so busy in life, and you know any kind of like, I don't know about you, but sometimes you go through your day and things happen. Like I'm a full time worker and all that stuff, so it's anytime I can get anything that I want done, it's like a small win, right? Whether you try to a new recipe or try to do something like it, it's like any kind of small win um, just makes the day even better. Um, so I've been trying. That's one of the things I've been trying to do, like keep track. Because again, I've been extremely busy at work and with everything. Oh, Coco. Maybe hopefully my spell when tonight will be that Coco will not be throwing up her bone here in 3 seconds. Um, yep, and there she did. Uh, Coco gets Coco gets to the point where she eats these bones, right? They get these busy bones, and then for some reason at the very end, she still has a huge chunk left. She like takes the easy way out and tries to just swallow it, and ends up like throwing it up 15 times. And then usually we have to like try to distract her and take it away. And now we're at like to the part of the bone where either she's gonna eat it and throw it up like three times. And oh, I love my dog. I love her. I love her. I love her. I don't. You tell me. Your dogs do anything goofy like that, where they just do this? Uh, she's a mess. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I would not have it any other way. I was gonna say my small one today was getting new pajamas. I'm like I needed new summer pajamas for not only I feel like I've been going through the same ones for these shows, and that was my small one. I got a chance to get out and do some stuff today, and I'm like, oh, I got these new summer pajamas, and I'm like, that was a win-win. But that was like my win today was be able to get groceries and get new pajamas. So yeah, it's you tell me. Did you guys have any wins today? Um, Anything good that happened today? Oh, Bubba loves bones. They both do, but like I said, Coco is well. I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say Coco is my only one that will do that, where she like swallows too big of pieces and then she sits there and throws up, and then she'll oh God, just a mess. So, but and then we got to take it away from her. So the co-producer is going to have to come down here and take it away from her because she's just making a mess all over the place. But yeah, she loves them, and so does Rosie. But Rosie and usually Lola will eat them like normal dogs should. But it's like she just gets over rambunctious. I don't know if it's from when she was a shelter dog or what the deal was, that she always, even with food, she always feels like she's got to be the first one to get the food and all that stuff. So maybe that's just the. Oh yeah, you were saying that the freeze dried ones. I know that we've got some of those here. Now, granted, not in the like we don't have like the kangaroo tail and all that. I know that we have freeze dried bones here, but like I think ours are mostly like the chicken feet, and I know I've seen chicken feet. Um, what was it? I when the moderator and I went to um, it was a pet expo. We went to a pet expo, and I know I talked about that a while back. But when we went to the pet expo. They actually had kind of an exotic booth because they all different booths, but they had a kind of like an exotic booth. And the reason why I say exotic is because like they had like um, you know chicken beaks, they had rabbit ears like with the fur on them, like actual rabbit ears, that you could feed your dogs, like all this stuff you could feed your dogs. I I mean I've seen like different like YouTube videos where people will take their dogs and feed them like dead baby piglets like in whole. Like I mean I don't know. Like I'll feed my dogs like dog bones and stuff like that, but like not chicken bones, anything like anything with bones in them. Um, just because sharp pieces could get lodged. I mean, I don't know. I mean, just it's that's too risky for me to try that. But this booth was like really crazy. Like I said, they had rabbit ears, they had hooves, all sorts of hooves, which that's cow hooves and stuff. That's pretty. I wouldn't say exotic, but kind of common. But they had like deer legs, like like part of a leg with the hoof on it, and I'm just like, my mind is just like blown. I'm like, first of all, I didn't even think you could feed your dog these things, but their theory is dogs are relatives of they're spawned from wolves and all that stuff, and which that just makes me laugh too because there's no way this one would make it out in the wild. I guess maybe if she had to, but like there's no way. She's too right now. I mean she's too pampered. She's way too pampered. So, but yeah, it's just so weird. Like I said, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow because I can't wait to see all the weird things there, and I'm sure I'll pick up stuff for next Frenchie Friday. If not, I'll show it on Tuesday's Pet Loss Day because I am kind of excited about it, just to see all the interesting things there. But I do want to do the his favorite is the Wacky Patty. His now what's yeah I remember you said it. What was in that though? What was in the Wacky Patty? What was it? A specific like animal or what's in that? Because I remember you sending me a picture of it, and I can't remember what was in that because you sent me the three. I know the one that stuck out was that kangaroo tail, but let me see here. Let me see if I can look it up. ADDY. No, it just. Oh, beef. Okay, beef bones. Okay, I was gonna say I just tried to Google it, and it came up like a pub. It came up like 17 other things other than that. Probably should have put in like dog treat, but yeah, it okay. So beef bones. Yeah, it's and granted, like I said, I mean they're derived from wolves, right? So they they're predators technically, even though they sleep in our beds and they get overheated in the heat and which that having this breed paranoids me to death with as quickly as they can overheat. I've been watching things on that on how to just there it just has to be you like I gotten these new blankets. They're called cooling blankets, and you put them out, and it actually the blanket like pulls the heat from the. Yes, yeah, do it, please. Yeah, if you find the link, please send it. I'd actually like to order some, see if they'll like them. I'm sure they would. I'm sure definitely Coco would. Coco eats everything. So, but before we go, I want to do Frenchie Friday shout outs. And this is going to be to celebrate our viewers and their pets. And these are ones that are with us and ones that have passed. We've got Harley, Dottie, Angel, Bubba, Peanuts, Coco, Ginger, Pepper, Violet, Sammy, Daisy, Sweet Pea, Midnight, Buck, Niffer, Coco, Rosie, Lola. And if there's any that I'm missing, put them in the chat. But those are going to be our Frenchie Friday shout outs for today. And again, Tuesday, Pet Loss Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Tuesday. I hope everybody can stop back in. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Please tell your friends, family about the show. More the merrier. If you don't have a friend, you have one now. I appreciate everybody that shows up on Fridays and Tuesdays. You mean very, very much, a lot to me. Lot to me. Rosie is sleeping, or she would say goodbye. But I hope everybody has a good rest of your Friday. I can't wait to show you the things that I buy. Actually, to bring one of those damn owl pellets on here next time. And unfortunately, there's no updates with the snails. It's still just 3 egg sacks up there. So, but anyways, I hope everybody has a good rest of your week. If you are FIFA fans, I hope you're enjoying watching the soccer games. I'm not a real big soccer person, but everybody at my work loves watching it, so they're all into FIFA right now. But anyway, so I hope everybody has a good rest of your Friday. I will see you on Tuesday. Yeah, snails, birds, cats, dogs, snakes, all sorts of. I know. Oh, yeah. It's funny. Somebody had said. We asked these weird questions at work, and somebody asked, "What is the least amount of money you would take in order to eat a spider?" And I'm like, first of all, I don't kill spiders. I catch them and throw them outside, so I wouldn't eat them anyways. But like, you could not pay me to eat a spider. There is no way. There is no way. Same thing. Yeah, no, there's no way I could eat a spider. But anyway, so I will see everybody on Tuesday, Pet Loss Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you know anybody that has lost a pet or needs help with pet loss, grief, support, please send them Tuesday. And then after that is Frenchie Friday. And, I'm looking forward to doing another dog treat video this week. So look for that, along with maybe some other surprises this week. So anyways, have a good rest of your day. Please be safe. And I will see you on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So see you all then. And I will. Yeah. Oh, I don't hate them. I think they're beautiful creatures. I just don't want them in my house. So I will take them and throw them outside. Moderator and the co-producer make fun of me all the time because I'm like, oh, there's a spider, and I'll catch it in a cup, throw it outside. I just don't like to kill stuff. And, I'm like, I just feel like, if I was going through my day and somebody just came and whopped me with a newspaper or stepped on me, I'd be upset, right? So, and they're good, they eat bugs and stuff. So I don't like killing stuff. But anyways, so, all right, I will see everybody on Tuesday. I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous day. Everybody means so much to me. Thank you. And have a wonderful rest of your night. Take care. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye.